So I'm pretty late to the game to this. I'd never watched it, and I was just flicking through the other day, and I thought, I've never seen that, so I'm just going to have a go and see if it's any good. Stephen Graham was a big pull for me because I think I respect him marvellously as an amazing actor. I don't really think I've ever seen him in anything that's terrible. So I thought I'd give it a go. So let's set it up. What happens? The police break into the Miller family home early in the morning and to arrest Jamie. And Jamie's a 13-year-old boy. And you can't believe how they've knocked the door in and run upstairs and arrested him. You think they must have the wrong place. That's the way I sort of thought about it. So shock and confusion. Jamie insists he's innocent. Viewers are drawn into the immediate crisis, which is what I was just saying before. That's exactly the way it is. You think they must have got the wrong place. It shows the family dynamics exposed. We see Jamie's parents, Eddie and Manda, dealing with the horror of their son being arrested. And in your mind, you've got innocence versus guilt. I'd early on decided they'd got the wrong place. So early on, the show cultivates sympathy. It's ambiguous whether Jamie could really commit such a crime. And in opinion, it's a very powerful opening. The one-take format pulls you into chaos and fear. It sets up not just a crime drama, but a deep psychological story. The choice to make us question Jamie's capacity for violence is smart. It makes the eventual reveal more impactful. So moving on to episode 2. The police investigate his school. They try to find the murder weapon, interview his friends, and dig into Jamie's social context. According to Netflix episode listing, they don't get much help from his peers until D.I. Bascom's son somehow helps him. Or D.I. Bascom's son is actually a student at the school, and he takes his father to one side and just points out a few things that he's missing to give him context of the mind of a teenager and how it works, how social media impacts different things, and just a little symbol at the end of a text or a social media post can mean that post is something completely different. So investigation, the procedural side, cops hunting for physical evidence and trying to piece together Jamie's life at school. Peer relationships, Jamie's school friends' behaviour, what he says and how he is perceived socially. Influence, the episode explores how external pressure and possibly online content affect Jamie's worldview. Well, when you're that age, sometimes it's all you've got, isn't it? You want to have more subscribers than anybody else. You want to be more popular, more likes. So opinion on this. This is the why part starting to come into focus. The investigative scenes are gripping. And you begin to sense that the crime isn't just about a single act. It's not just about just a young boy committing a random heinous crime. He hasn't just decided to do it. He's been thinking about it. He's been working up to it. He's been upset. Things have been warping his mind. Because it's about the much larger, more insidious backdrops, like bullying, social isolation, and online radicalisation. So then we move on to episode 3, which to me was absolutely captivating. It's 2 people in a room, which some people don't like. But to me, the dialogue just was gripping all the way through. So Jamie meets up with Bryony Ariston, a psychologist, therapist. At first, Jamie is very reluctant to open up, but he eventually reveals complex feelings. And you actually see the feelings coming out of him in different ways. And he feels them about Katie, the girl he's accused of killing. So go on to the psychological exploration. This is the emotional core of the series. Jamie's inner world and motivations are probed. So his vulnerability. Through therapy, we can see that Jamie's self-esteem issues guilt, possibly anger and shame. Radicalisation, toxic online influence. The show links Jamie's mindset to larger online ideologies, incel-type thinking, toxic masculinity. So it brings up famous social media, I say infamous probably, social media people saying this is the place of the girl, this is the place of the boy, this is how you should be thinking. And when you get into the mind of a 13, 14-year-old boy who really doesn't know what he should be thinking, sometimes they can harvest the thoughts from somebody perceived as famous and think that that's what they're actually thinking. So opinion on this one, it's probably the strongest episode for character work, which was what I said before. For me, the dialogue is amazing. Especially the psychologist, the look on her face, the shock sometimes, and trying to control that shock of what the young guy is saying, and a little bit of fear sometimes, and trying to mask that fear. Owen Cooper, who plays Jamie, and Erin Doherty, who plays Bryony, delivered deeply affecting performances. The one-shot format here feels especially appropriate. It's like being in a real therapy session. Some viewers said it's harrowing and intense. I thought it was intense. And some of the thoughts that are coming out of his mind obviously were harrowing, because you relate that to your own children and think, is it possible? Is it possible that they could do this? Are they going through that? And that's very, very thought-provoking. And I really enjoyed that in a macabre sort of way. Last, but certainly not least, is episode 4, the finale. So the timeline jumps 13 months ahead. It's Eddie's 50th birthday, which is Stephen Graham's character, the father. But the day is obviously deeply overshadowed. You've got a son in the legal system, and it gives a massive emotional fallout. Jamie calls his father and reveals that he will change his plea to guilty on his father's 50th birthday. His father's just trying to get by. I wouldn't say you're going to enjoy it. You've got a child in the legal system, and that would be with you every morning when you wake up. So his son decides to tell his father this on his 50th birthday. The episode ends with a devastating emotional scene. Eddie, Jamie's father, apologises, tucking a teddy bear into Jamie's bed, as though addressing his son directly. So the aftermath to this 4-season, the series of events that have gone on within the 4 episodes of the season. The family is fractured. Their attempt at a normal birthday is ruined by public backlash, because Eddie's van gets vandalised during the evening by people who don't know, just their opinion. The word they put on the side of the van has no relation whatsoever to what's gone on at any part in the 4 episodes of this season. So accountability. Jamie's decision to plead guilty suggests he's coming to terms with what he's actually done. Parental guilt. Eddie's emotional breakdown shows how much he blames himself and how helpless he feels. Anybody that's had a child that's gone into the legal system will resonate with that. You can't do anything about it. Most of these child, if your child's an adult, they make their own way in life. It's not something you did. You could be law-abiding, not have any mental health problems, and you didn't get them to do it. They did it on their own. But as a family member, you feel responsible. Did I do something wrong earlier in the life to cause this? So opinion. The finale is gutting. It brings the series full circle, but instead of a neat resolution, it leaves you with a haunting sense of loss. The teddy bear scene is especially effective, symbolic, raw, and deeply personal. I think the choice to set it a year later underlines the trauma doesn't just end with the arrest. It reverberates. Let's do overall analysis and opinions. Technical achievement, direction. The decision to film each episode in one continuous take is brilliant. It heightens realism and tension. According to interviews, that was extremely challenging to pull off. Multiple takes, choreography, and technical precision. This technique is not just for show, it reinforces the emotional and psychological weight of the story. Themes and relevance. The show is a warning about how online ideologies, particularly misogynistic incel content, can radicalise young, vulnerable minds. You'd be surprised what they're listening to when they're doors shut and they're supposed to be asleep. Imagine a strong character just reading off their opinions, and sometimes they're not actually their opinions. They just want to get famous, make loads of money. They're not actually saying things they don't really believe just to be famous. But with a vulnerable 13, 14-year-old boy, it's going to hit. They're going to think about it, and they're going to probably think, well, he looks good in his Lamborghini. The show also deals with parental responsibility, generational trauma, and how families can unwittingly fail to protect their children. There is a broader social commentary. The policing system, media response, and public backlash are all addressed, especially in the finale. So let's recognise the performances. Owen Cooper, who plays Jamie, a very strong performance, conveying the complexity of a teenager who is both a victim and a perpetrator. Stephen Graham's character, Eddie, excellent emotional depth. The guy is an absolute hero. It just amazes you. Whatever character he plays, you actually feel he is that person. You don't think you're looking at Stephen Graham. And it doesn't matter who it is. The level of emotion in his character came out numerous times, and rage and just general feeling of worthlessness. It comes through with this character. He played it so well. Erin Doherty, who played the psychologist, was just as good. She brings a credible, compassionate, but also probing therapist to life. She also showed vulnerability as well. When you can see her, she was taken aback by the character when she did the interview with him. She was surprised by him. I think she was actually surprised that he could be capable of this, because when you talk to him for a start, he's such a young child, and then he starts to come out of that as more of an act and show his true signs. So, impact and reception. Critically acclaimed, widely praised for writing, acting, and cinematography. Cultural impact. Netflix made the show available to UK secondary schools, which was a cracking idea. Just to show these people that your online presence isn't the real presence. And it can really put you into some serious, let's not say trouble, or a seriously troubled way of life if you actually take that much notice of your social media. You know, just a simple emoji can mean so many things, and can be seen to disrespect you, and send you off on a tangent that you could never come back from for the rest of your life. Apparently, it received mixed audience reactions. Some viewers found it emotionally draining, but important. Others thought it was overhyped or slow. I found it emotionally draining, I'll be honest. It was very, very intense. I thought it was an absolutely top-notch, top-class thing. I was surprised that it didn't go on for longer. I was surprised when it came to the end, and that was the end. But if you look on to Netflix, at the end of it all, there's another episode where it tells you how they made it and why they made it. And that, if you're not sure what was going on in the show, or you're not sure of the conclusion of the show, it explains that this show wasn't a who done it, it was a why done it. It was showing what had happened for a start and why this had happened. And it definitely added some weight to the rest of the show. Anyway, thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one.